My name is Nyanjom Joshua, a Kenyan by birth, a Pan-Africanist to say so, a human rights activist, and by profession I'm a nurse.
Good. Welcome to Afrika Tuungane, United States of Africa. This is a special program under Honorable Media Africa that we are trying to promote intra-African unity, intra-African tourism, intra-African travel, and most importantly, as I started with, the greatest challenge and the greatest dream for Africa, which is African unity. But for now, let's talk about promoting intra-African travel and intra-African tourism. So, if today you're given a chance to choose one African country to go there as a tourist, so which country would you go to?
I'll preferably choose Ghana.
Ghana.
Yeah.
Why Ghana?
Because Kwame Nkrumah is one of the most credible leaders that I, as a young Pan-Africanist, have been following for a very long time. His speeches, the way he used to articulate unity of Africa, one of the most outstanding speech of Kwame Nkrumah made me to believe that he's a man and he's a person that actually I should align my identity with. Yeah.
Ghana, specifically because of its founding father, Kwame Nkrumah, who was ideally the founder of the African dream, the ideal of African dream on African unity, right?
He was not the father, but he was among
the founding
people who found the OAU, which today is known as the African Union, AU. Yeah.
Good. Let's talk about that one African country that you don't know much about, but which given a chance or an opportunity, you'd want to exploit, learn more about it, and maybe visit someday. Which is that African country?
I'll say South Africa.
South Africa. Why? What interests you most about South Africa?
South Africa, because apart from the issues that I've learned from books, there are things that I wish that if I get a chance, I should go and visit, like to see the monument of this one Nelson Mandela. He also inspires me a lot. That's why I've been following history of South Africa. Even today, the one a Pan-Africanist from South Africa by Julius Sego Malema is also an inspiring individual, which actually, if I've been given a chance, I'll love or I'll like to interact with one Julius Malema.
Great. This being Africa Month, May is Africa Month. Let's talk about the most important thing in any country and in a continent, leadership. Let's talk about African leadership. So which is that one African country that you see a model in terms of leadership, the governance, generally the way that country is governed? Which is that its democracy and politics? Which is that model African country for you?
I know many people will judge me, but I'll say Burkina Faso, the people of Burkinabé, the upright land. You know why I'm saying Burkina Faso? People are saying that one Ibrahim Traore get himself into power through coup, but the way it's true, he managed to be the interim president of Burkina Faso through coup. But the way he's managing people of Burkina Faso, we are seeing now he's reclaiming the gold of Burkina Faso and to be preserved in Burkina Faso, so that people from Burkina Faso have direct access, or they have direct benefit from the gold that they are producing. I think in terms of governance, the way programs in Burkina Faso are being run, to me it's superb. Maybe people will see that Burkina Faso, in terms of currency or GDP, they are still low and underdeveloped, but the way they are doing their programs today, as you're speaking, Burkina Faso have managed to come up with their own electric cars. Burkina Faso have been one of a multi-international pharmaceutical industries, just to make sure that when disease hits Burkina Faso, they'll have a place to hide. Now, as you're speaking, Burkina Faso, the military of Burkina Faso are being trained in Russia. I'm not saying that East is West or Northwest is bad, but the way the things are being run today, I'm seeing in 10 years' time, Burkina Faso will be at the apex, and it will be the country that it will be a country that most Africans or most African people will get to admire.
Great, great. Still on African leadership, on this Africa Month, I'd want you to address the African Union. both the African Union and the African Union Commission, what would you want them to see them doing, all African leaders, all of them assembled at the African Union Assembly of Heads of State and Government, specifically for Africa and Africans? What would you want them to do at this point in time?
Actually, let me start by the speech of Kwame Nkrumah at the first meeting in Addis Ababa.
Correct.
When Kwame met with African leaders after let's say about 37 countries in Africa they were already had their sovereignty, and he told the African leaders, we have no time, we have to unite now. But after the meeting, those leaders, after the speech of Kwame Nkrumah, those African leaders were seen in cocoons or in small groups, saying that we thank God that Africa today is not united. Being that if Africa were united, I could have not been the prime minister, I could have not been the president. And to surprise you, the issue of entitlement with African leaders, correct, it's what has brought it's what that has made Africa to be where we are today. You have asked me a very good question, that my message to African leaders.
Yes.
I would have loved to tell them, let them stop being over entitlement. The time of Kwame Nkrumah to today, what is it that has prevented African leaders to unite? What is it if it's not entitlement? Entitlement is destroying the future of Africans and is still destroying the African generation. Being that today, we are looking at that today, Africa, we are about around 2 billion, yes, or 1.5 billion.
1.5 billion
1.5 billion people.
Yes.
Look at Europe. Europe, which has around, I don't know, is it 37 or 40 countries?
28
countries. About 3 countries are the only countries that are not using the euro. But the rest are using euro.
A common currency.
A common currency, a common denominator. That's make them, the unity that you're calling in Africa, it's what will make the imperialists to run away from Africa. So long as we will still remain ununited, the way we are seeing our brothers from Tanzania distance themselves from us. And remember, through Tanzania, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere and our founder father, Hayati Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, and Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, that the people who help Kenya to get its sovereignty. So unity of purpose, it's needed. We have no time. We need to unite as soon as possible. And I want to tell the AU secretariats, the chair who was elected this year, February.
Yes. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf.
Mahmoud, the only duty that he has is to make that we have United States of Africa. Let's do away with this African Union. We want United States of Africa, where we have one currency, one language, for us to compete fairly with the imperialists. Because we have seen, like, the population of Africa, it's growing rapidly, and through the treaties that we sign with our colonizers, Africa cannot manufacture her own products. We depend so much in Europe. Even the technology that you're using today, it's not owned by Africa. If those people from Europe decide to switch off, we'll be in the dark continent. Correct. So we are telling Muhammad, the only duty that we are giving him as patriots and as Pan-Africanists is to make sure when he will leave in that office, we have United States of Africa, not the AU as a secretariat that we are having, and all the entire leaders of Africa are being summoned by the little Qatar can summon the entire African leaders to assemble there. It's so painful.
Thank you very much, brother. Finally, talk to us about one thing you like about your fellow Kenyans, Wakenya wenzako. Ni nini unapenda kuhusu Wakenya wenzako? Something you like about Kenyans that you would want other Africans to emulate. What is that?
Mimi acha sasa, kwa sababu nimerudi nyumbani, acha ni address kwa ile lugha ambayo tumezoea, lugha ya mtaani, lugha ya Nairobi, lugha ya Afrika. Mimi kitu yenye nimependea wa Kenya ni ile umoja. Wacha ile mambo Kenya huwa tunagawanyika katika msingi wa kisiasa peke yake, ndio unapata nataka kujua huyu jirani wangu je ni Mkalenjini, ni Mjaluo ama ni Mluya. Lakini ikikuja wakati wa shida, tuliona mwaka jana June vile vijana wa Kenya waliandamana ama walitoka kwa street, the way tulikuwa united. Imagine mimi nilikuwa among those people who are protesting. Nilikuwa napata maji, nilikuwa napata chakula, nilikuwa nabebwa kwa bodaboda, hata sijui mwenye sina pesa lakini nilikuwa nabebwa. Bora tu tufike wapi? Tufike State House. Ile umoja tuko nao hapa Afrika. Hata huo umoja ndio maana nchi ya Tanzania walivyojaribu kutuingilia mambo yetu hapa Kenya. Uliona vile tulitumia ule umoja kuambia Tanzania kama wale viongozi wetu hawezi tutetea, sasa sisi vijana tutajitetea wenyewe. Tuliona wengine sitasema ni vizuri, waliingia mpaka kwa system wakahack wakajilipa si vizuri, lakini kitu na admire sana kwa Wakenya ni ile umoja ile tuko nao sasa zile tuna shida.
The unity of Kenyans. That is what you want other Africans to emulate.
Yes, to emulate from us. Correct. The unity that you're having in Kenya.